Welcome back to another episode of On the Subject. I'm your host, Michael Vilardo, and we have an incredible guest today. We have an entrepreneur, a rising star in the industry, someone who's taken the world by storm directly out of college, right into the entrepreneurial space. And I'm so excited to learn from him. He knows how to build content, knows how to build great products, and he has so many incredible takes. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Lukas, also known as Squid Pakter. Welcome to the show today.
Dude, thanks for having me. That might have been the best intro I've ever gotten. So, gassing me up. I
Well,
love it.
it's a
Thank
huge
you.
shout out. So, the way that I was able to hear of you is you came up on my For You page. I love digesting content. I think today content is the most important form of currency. It's how young people learn, that one shameless plug for subject. That's why everything we do is video first. But content is so important. You're so young, yet you built such a great following. Were you always an incredible talker, articulate? Like, what made you
No,
so
no,
good at
no.
building a fan base?
It's funny you asked that. So, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He asked for advice on like what direction he should go. And he said, how did you know that you were supposed to do like advice videos or yapping videos, I call them? And I didn't. Like I started making content 3 years ago. And of course, it was cringy workout videos. It seems like everyone actually in my space started with those, but I started with cringy workout videos, and I didn't have the craziest physique back then. I didn't have high camera quality. I didn't know how to make a video. And I posted I talk about this a lot because I think it's important, but I posted 743 videos
Wow.
before one day I got like a good piece of advice from, a friend of my dad's who used to be a mentor. And I just made a video on that. And I said, this is what like my mentor told me. And that was the first video to ever go viral. So then I thought like, okay, well, maybe people like want to see this kind of stuff. So I just started slowly making more and more, once again, yapping content. And it's just my takes on stuff, whether it's like business or life or like I definitely don't know what I'm talking about half the time. But the reason I wanted to start making content now is because I'm confident in myself. I think one day, I'll have a good amount of success. So I feel like talking about it after the fact isn't really that helpful, right? So I wanted to kind of document my thought process essentially, but I definitely didn't know what I was doing, still don't know what I'm doing, figuring out along the way. And I think like it's important to say that because a lot of people look at anyone who might be ahead of them and think like, oh, they know what to do, but that's not the case in any situation.
And you graduated in 2023?
Yeah, just
So
around
you're
this
a
time
little
last year.
over a year out of school.
Mhm.
I'm so impressed, and I think it's so important. And one thing we fall into a trap in society sometimes is saying you can only learn from people older than you. I'm relatively young, I would consider, for an entrepreneur, but you're, almost 10 years younger than I, and I've been able to learn so much from you already, just engaging with your content. Do you post whenever you feel like you have something profound to say, or do you have a schedule? Do you wait one day of the week? Like, how do you maximize the way that you engage with your fans?
I think I could first of all, I just want to say I completely agree. First thing you said. I have friends both in business and in the content realm that are like 17, 18-year-old kids. And I learn more from
Yeah.
them than I do from older people because it's always the young people who like know the trends. They know what's
You
going to
want to
happen
always be
next.
changing.
And they're creative.
Yes,
They're really
exactly. You
creative.
want to always be changing.
Absolutely. So it's really important to surround yourself with all different age groups, older and younger and your age. But in terms of like the science behind it, my content itself is very raw. Maybe I'll have an idea for something and I'll be driving, so I'll like put it in my notes real quick. But the content itself is very raw, just talking to the phone. In terms of like the output of it, like how often I'm making content, some days I might make none, some days I might make 10 videos. I try and upload about once or twice a day. I've found that if you miss a couple of days, you get screwed.
What time do you need to post that?
I don't think it's that important.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have to engage with a lot of the comments?
I'm trying to do a better job recently. The thing about content is I don't think there's a game plan.
Yeah,
Or I
just
don't
got
think
to go for
I
it.
don't think there's a
Hooks on
strategy.
net.
Just like in business, right? Like everyone's business is different. Some people are just really good at it and like everyone they do works out well. But content's so interesting because I have one friend who's 18. His content is ripping, millions of views every single video. It's been that way for about a year now. You could tell the second you met this guy, he's going to be a star. And the thing is, all of his content is pretty much the exact same video, just changed like
Yeah.
10%. And it still does well. And it's still engaging and people love it. And so at the end of the day, I think the quality of the content is much more important than, what time you're posting at or how many times a day, whatever. But I will say right now I'm not really growing on TikTok specifically. I've kind of plateaued on there because I think I've reached like my audience size. But when I was growing the fastest, I was getting like 10K a day, and it's when I was posting 20 times a day.
Oh, wow. So
I
you had a ton
Oh,
of
yeah.
output. Was this back when you were in school and then maybe some more
It
free
was it
time, or?
was I had there were 2 summers when I grew the most, and it was just over a 2-month period. All I did was make content all day long. I even had a job, and, like, the second my boss would, like, walk out, I
Yeah.
would start making videos in the office room. I was working commercial real estate, and, my TikTok time on my f when you go check your screen time?
Yeah.
My TikTok, amount of hours every single day was 14 hours at one point on
That's
average.
but see, that's dedication, that's obsession. Don't you believe you have to be obsessed to be great at anything?
For sure. Absolutely, and I'm even trying, like, getting down to the science of it and, like, really trying to figure out, like, what hooks work and the exact, like, formula for a video. It's really, like, kind of annoying, and it's definitely not fun or
No, it's
exciting in
work,
any
it's a
way, but
skill.
it's really important. Like, you really have to look into it. Like, another guy that's in my circle, his name's Daddy Wellness. He's
Nice.
blowing up right now. He calls himself the healthy degenerate. Every one of his videos is getting hundreds of thousands of views right now, blowing up. He's probably at 1,000,000 by this point. And you watch his videos and you think like, this guy makes it look so easy. He just whips his phone out, he talks, rambles about whatever subject, and then it blows up. But I hopped on a call with him a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Lucas, I've been making content for 5 years. It used to be finance content, like how to handle and manage your money, and you just realize once you start talking to, like, the pros that even though it looks really easy, they're actually really putting a lot of effort, time, and energy into it, so
I love that. I think it's really exceptional how you talked about building a personal brand. Do you think for you, most of your customers, and let's shout out his company right now, Squid House, incredible menswear, such incredibly looking shorts. Everyone should go buy some. Do you get most of your customers from TikTok, all social media, or like what's the customer acquisition strategy right now?
at the beginning I always would it's important to me that I'm, like, 5 years from now known as, like, entrepreneur first,
Yeah.
but, and that's what I'm most passionate about, but, like, I can say without a doubt the best decision I've ever made is clicking the record button. I say that
Yeah.
all the time because a ton of our sales, especially in the beginning, came from my following. Most of our employees came from my following.
Oh, that's
Most of the
awesome.
athletes that represent our brand came from my
Yeah.
following.
Who are some of the athletes?
Lots of like fitness
Yeah. I love
influencers.
that.
Also we've had some bigger guys like some NFL players. Dylan Dennis was a big one. That was
Nice.
like he's such a loud individual and he's
He
just
has a
such a
lot of
shit
eyeballs.
talker.
Yeah.
And our gear is very loud, so it kind of worked with
Yeah.
him perfectly. But even like two turn Tony hit me up yesterday, so I sent him some stuff. So we like guys like that like don't really fit into like the box,
Yeah.
they're
They're
just
one of a
very
kind.
loud and yeah, one of a kind. So that's our whole brand is like loud gear for loud people. We're essentially trying to create like what Lululemon did with the boss girl archetype of the early 2000s with this like new generation of young, loud, energetic entrepreneur of like the 2020s,
No, so I
essentially.
love this, and I appreciate how authentic you are. So when you're loud and you're putting yourself out there, you're definitely gonna have people who hate on you, chirp you. Like, do you just ignore them? Do you like, how do you deal with that? I think you had a really, profound video where you said, if you want to be someone special, you're gonna have a lot of people that are your fans. Also, people that hate you. I think you used Tom Brady as the
Mhm.
example. Like, how do you go about that, especially as someone who's so young? They say the younger you are, the more emotional volatility you
Mhm.
may have. How have you been able to keep such a level head throughout all of it?
I think first of all, absolutely. Every single person that is like successful or loved has like equally as much, if not even more, haters, essentially.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
that interesting word. But I think you kind of just have to callous yourself to it. It's like I saw a really funny video the other day. This guy said, if you want to build confidence, walk into a salon. Next time you walk by a salon on the street, walk in, go on the floor in front of everyone, in front of all the workers, polishing nails, in front of all the customers, and just do some push-ups on the ground. It's gonna be so embarrassing. Everyone's gonna look at you, be like, "What is this guy doing?" Sorry to my language.
No, go
Um,
ahead. It's a
but
it's a
that's gonna
adult
build your
podcast.
confidence, right? So, um, it's gone it goes in waves, social media. Sometimes my comment section will be really positive. Right now, my Instagram comment section is really positive. Everyone's awesome, like, "I love this. This is helpful." Asking good questions, even, like, meeting other people in there. Right now, my TikTok comment section is horrible. It's all hate.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes. It's like waves. And
Haters make you famous.
they haters make it Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Bryce Hall, these
Yeah.
guys were all the most hated people on the planet at one point
Yeah.
in terms of, like, social
And they
media.
make a lot of money.
And now they're killing it, and
Yeah.
you can't not respect them. You don't have to like them or agree with them, but you can't not respect them. And, so I think haters are actually just as valuable. I think when your fans or your supporters see that other people don't like you, it actually makes them like you even more. You take guys like
Yeah, it's true.
Elon, Dave Portnoy, like Joe Rogan, whenever they get canceled, people like them even more. And the people that are trying to cancel them, we're never gonna be their customers or
That's
supporters
true.
anyway.
Yeah, they weren't.
So I think and it's interesting, whenever I've made content that tries to walk the line and be very fair in terms of, opposition and sides and everything, not just politics, but just, like,
Yeah.
point of views,
No, totally.
perspectives, whenever I try and walk the line, I get the most amount of hate. But if I make a video that's, like, very strongly against something or very strongly in support of a controversial topic or an opinion or an idea, I usually get a lot of support because the people who really agree with you are gonna be like, "Fuck yeah, I
I
agree
completely
100%."
agree. I'm not nearly on the level of you yet, but aspiring to do so from the content space. But I had one post about work-life balance because we don't believe in it here.
Mhm.
We're all about working as many hours as possible, 60 plus hour minimum work week, because we really believe in being obsessed with your craft. And anyone, I mean, best athlete, best business person, they're all working a ton of hours. And it got a lot of love and a lot of hate. A lot of the people who are all about work-life balance came out of the woodwork and saying, this is not healthy, whatnot. And it's like, you gotta own who you are, and, if you really believe in something, you can be able to stand by it, but it definitely hurt more than you would have guessed, like, yeah, as the first time going through, you're like, "Oh my goodness, all these comments, like,
Yeah.
how do you deal with this?" And then, you look at all these people, like you said, who are super successful, they deal with it times a million every day. If you can't handle it, you're never gonna be a leader, you gotta be able to deal with it, you gotta be
I think you gotta
calloused.
have fun with it, and
Yeah.
what's interesting because I was on a podcast yesterday, and this really nice girl, Patrice, she asked the same exact question, and unfortunately, this might just be my experience, but I think when you callous your emotions to online criticism or just criticism in general, you kinda have to get rid of the good ones too, unfortunately. Like, I'll get a DM from someone or a comment from someone talking mad shit for no reason, like on a video that I'm literally just trying to help. Like, I'll make a video saying, "Don't do this in your business because, like, I lost this much money." And someone will say, "Why the fuck would anyone listen to this guy? He's not successful yet. Like, shut up, bro." Like, whatever. That doesn't bug me at all. But at the same time, if I get a DM from someone and they're like, "Hey man, you've really had a positive impact on me," or like, "I just started my first business," or "You've helped me get over my, public insecurity," I honestly don't get to like really feel the
Well, you gotta keep the emotional,
yeah.
the even Steven of it. I talk about that as well. Less in content because I'm new to it. I just started in February, but in terms of running a
Good for you.
business, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. So running a business, we've been able to raise from some really great investors like Kleiner Perkins, SoftBank, and those highs were so high in the beginning, and then you have to do, you have to fire someone, or you have to do a layoff like that's extremely low. But now, 3.5 years in, and it feels like 30 years in, every day as an entrepreneur is so much more experience than it is just working as a normal 9 to 5 in corporate America. Now I'm a lot more numb to your point to either side of the coin where just like, yeah, it's going to get better. Or, oh, it's going to get worse. Like there's no way to find that novelty as much. But I think that's actually part of the role. You have to be able to be so emotionally secure because as a leader, as a CEO, as a founder, you can't show weakness to your employees. You can't go cry to them about something because you need to be strong for them and allow for them to open up to you. How have you done that though? I saw that you're actually trying to build a community for more young men, some more young founders, like helping them be able to find people that they can be vulnerable and authentic with, because especially as a leader, it's hard to have.
Well, okay, so I have like a free like Discord right now, and I made that as a way. when I was in college, it's really lonely, entrepreneurship,
It's
first of
super
all.
lonely,
Very
because
lonely.
you can't be as emotional. That's why
Yeah.
it's so lonely, and then you also it's hard for you to relate to people who aren't entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's so hard, and when I was in college, like, I had a lot of friends. I had a great group of friends, great network of people there, but no one was, like, doing what I was doing,
Yep,
and so it was hard to relate to people. No one
yep.
understood, um, and that was isolating, you know? So I have, like, a free Discord, I, like, pay mods and devs to run it, and I don't get anything out of it, but I just made it for pretty much, like, if anyone is in that kinda situation,
Yep.
they can go in there, say, "Hey, guys, I have an idea. Does anyone, you know, have any input or whatever?" And I think, like, our devs do, like, weekly calls with everyone and,
That's
like, schedule
amazing.
stuff. It's cool. But it's really interesting. Still, I did that. I did that. I built this thing. I paid for it, hired people, and then I thought, like, I'll try a little online community thing, like, make some money on the side. So I said, "If you can join for free. If you wanna pay $30 a month, $1 a day, as cheap as I could do it, I'm gonna be bringing in, like, all of my successful founder friends to talk about their stories." And I launched it, pretty much
Good
no
idea.
I thought it was a great idea. I brought in one of my friends who's worth, like, $150 million. He's done it. Like, this guy is literally the goal, and people are asking questions like, "How do I stay motivated?" Right? "How do I start a business?" And I'm thinking, "This is such a waste of this guy's time," right? Because he's just a well of information,
Yeah.
and guess what? I got reamed online for trying to charge for this, and so I shut it down. I did it for 2 weeks. I shut it down. I refunded everybody. I was like, "This is just the right product to the wrong people." And then I started calling some of my entrepreneur friends that I've met through social media, pitched them the exact same thing. I said, "Hey, I know entrepreneurship is really lonely. I have a platform. I'm very fortunate to know a lot of guys like us that are building stuff, but it's, you're just, if you're not in that position, you don't have a platform, it's hard to connect and meet other people. Would you be interested in like a very high ticket, like exclusive online friend group of like entrepreneurs?" And I was like, "I'm going to charge probably like 6,500 for it." I called like 30 people. Every single person said, "I'm in, let me know." So
It's a good business,
it was really interesting taking like the exact same product,
but charging more.
charging 100 times more, essentially.
The premium buyers complain less.
They don't complain at all. And some of them, like, don't even wanna show up to the meetings, like, they just wanna be in the group chat at the end. So, it was really interesting, like, experiment for me to see. You can literally sell the exact same thing to 2 different types of people. One will pay way more and complain way less and provide more value, and then one, like, you know, all they wanna do is complain and try and get a discount or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's actually really, that's a proven business case that the lower cost, customers are oftentimes the highest service customers, which is really fascinating, and that's one reason when I'm, leading our company, I'm really pushing for the highest ACV, average contract value approach possible because, a 100K contract is gonna take you just as much time as closing a $10,000 contract, but you gotta close 10 of them, so, go for gold, go for the biggest possible, and so let's talk more personal. So you're from Northern California. You're not from Napa Valley Unified, though. I was hoping you were. So you went? Did you go to Saint Helena? I saw
St.
your
Helena,
football.
yeah, little tiny
Yeah,
high school.
yeah. Because we work with Napa Valley Unified. Just ran. So I was
Oh,
like, because
cool.
I was trying to do some more research on deductive reasoning. Then you ended up at U of A. Incredible school, incredible time. Talk about that decision. Like, how did you choose to go to University of Arizona? What made you want to go there? It sounds like you had an incredible college experience. What frat were you in?
I was in ZBT.
Shout out ZBT.
That was a lot of fun. Honestly, I'd love to say there was a specific reason for it, but they were the only ones that wanted me. I wanted to go to USC. That was my dream school. I worked very hard in high school. I had really good grades. I did all the sports. I thought I wrote like one of the best applications of all time. And I think I had a 4.3
Well,
was
that's
my
amazing.
yeah, which
Yeah.
I tried really hard. I took AP classes, and everyone thought like I was going to USC. Everyone knew I wanted to go to USC. I didn't get
I could
in.
see you going to USC. I feel like you would fit
It
in
was
well
like
there.
my
Yeah.
dream school, man. We hired like a fucking my parents like took a lot of sacrifices and hired like a really nice college coach.
Yeah.
I the SAT, we hired a what do you call it? Like a SAT tutor.
Yep.
I studied 2 hours every day for an entire year for the SAT. I took it 3 different times. I got the same exact score 3 times. And they told like the owner of the company like talked to my parents, and apparently with like the amount of hours I put in, I was supposed to have a perfect score, but it wasn't that great. So they gave my little brother unlimited free classes.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm
nice.
not a test guy.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I know.
I agree. Tests are overrated. I was lucky enough I got to go to Penn because of baseball. I played
That's
baseball
awesome.
there as a great
Hell
time. But
yeah.
then for business school, I had to test my way in, and I was like, I'm going to go to Stanford, Harvard, and didn't do well on the GMAT. Ended up going to UCLA, which is amazing. Love
Yeah.
UCLA. But to your point, I think tests don't really tell who the best entrepreneurs are, though. The grit does. The
It's
grit. Who's
IQ versus
willing to?
EQ,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I
And
agree.
entrepreneurs, at the end of the day, like entrepreneurs succeed because of EQ. If you have
Yes.
IQ and EQ, that you're like the pot of gold, right?
Yep.
But it's EQ at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, so I didn't get into USC. Got into U of A. Wasn't like really butthurt about it. I was just like, whatever. My friend got in, by the way,
Yeah, yeah.
2.8 out of 4.3.
Oh my goodness.
He was just yeah, but you know that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And
Things worked out well for you, though.
yeah, I didn't like get upset over it. I just said, all right, like we're going to U of A.
Yeah.
Um,
Great time.
Had a
Tucson
great
University.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Harvard of the West, they call it.
Yes,
You
exactly.
pretty much need a pulse to get in there, but really low graduation rate
Yeah.
because it's so distracting. There's something going
There's
on
a lot
every
of good
night.
times happening there.
Crazy fun school. Yeah, joined a fraternity. All my friends voted me the president of the
That's
fraternity, so that
huge.
was. I think like if I'm just as proud of that as I am my business because I don't know. I think it's like a very selfless thing to do. Like everyone from the outside, oh, like you probably partied a lot. No, it's 100% just risk. Like you're
Yeah,
not
liability.
liability, like getting woken up at 4 in the morning because the cops are at the front door and everybody else is burning shit and breaking shit.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why, guys? Right? You're not getting paid. It's like very selfless. So I respect anyone who's done anything like
Well,
that.
I really say, and run a high school business. And I am really passionate that high school is more important than college. And my reasoning is how you do in high school affects what college you go to and such. And when you're at college, I actually think the extracurriculars, the frats, the sororities, the internships, I believe those are more important than the classes. At college, high school, you have to do well in the classes and be involved in the community so you can go to a great university. And U of A is a great university. Said this publicly many times. You got to go to these top 200 U.S. News University, which U of A is absolutely in. But if you don't get in those top 200 U.S. News universities, you're probably better off going to community college or trade school. And so that's why I say high school is the most important. And then at college, being in a frat or sorority, that's one is a great time, but those are the people who are going to get you jobs. That's how you're going to build those EQ social skills. That is so valuable, and so I think that the frat life's the way to go. I was not in a frat, so kind of hypocritical, but baseball,
Sports, though.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
baseball was
same thing,
amazing.
social
Yes.
scene. And yeah, a lot of people shit on it. Like so many people like hate on Greek life. And they go, you pay for your friends. Like, I guess, but you're paying for like
Small
the
investment, long
opportunity.
term.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
pretty
I
cheap.
think it was awesome, and I'm not even like trying to get you to join. Like, I have nothing to gain. Like,
Yeah.
it's great if you have the opportunity, you should do it. But yeah, then I started my business in college with my cousin,
Was
and
he at U of A as well?
no, he was at LMU, so local.
Oh, there, he's
Yeah.
right here. Nice. Okay, so what was that like having a remote, starting a remote co-founder? Do you now both live in Austin
No,
together?
it's still remote. Every single person on our team is in a different place. Um, I would love to get everyone central, like
Yeah,
our
we're
creative.
huge on in person. So
Yeah, our creative director's in Daytona, middle of nowhere,
in
and
Florida,
yeah, and I literally just gave him a raise, like just so he could come out to
we got to save
Austin.
him from there. We got to get
I
him
know
out of
you
there.
just like you got to put yourself in good environments, and
Yeah.
he's like brilliant, and he's
Austin's amazing. Yeah, how did you choose Austin? That's actually another question I wanted
mm.
to ask because you're from Northern California and you went to school in Arizona. Why Austin? Why Austin over SF, LA, Miami, New York? And Austin's amazing. I just want to
Yeah,
hear your rationale.
it's a good question. Well, first of all, I think any time you have the opportunity, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, if you don't have the answer yet, if you can move to a new city, if you have the ability to do so,
Agreed.
do it. Even if you don't know anybody there, I've moved
That's
to.
good for you if you don't know
It's
anyone.
so great. I moved to LA not knowing anyone. I had to go out like by myself and like meet people. Fortunately, in Austin, I had social media, so I got connected instantly. But I picked Austin because I came to LA after college. I thought this was where I
Oh,
should
so you
be.
came here last
Yeah, I
summer.
was here for 4 months with my cousin. We were building it here together. And I just wasn't that happy, honestly.
Yeah.
I love LA, but my opinion is LA, like having lived in LA and Austin, LA is what can you do for me? Austin is what can I do for you?
That's nice, yeah.
And it's really like, it's just really cool out there. Nothing better than LA summer.
Oh, don't worry. Hey,
That's
you
why I'm
don't
here.
and
Right now.
so I'm from Chicago originally. I've lived all over the country because of sports. LA, I've been in 5 years now, so definitely somewhat an Angelino now. I'm super passionate about LA because, for what we're doing, I'm a tech CEO. SF is still the capital of capital. No matter what anyone says, I'm not the biggest fan of the overall lifestyle in SF, but it is the capital of capital. LA is only an hour flight from there, so that's huge. And I do believe LA is the media entertainment hub, which is a huge part of our business as well. And then I am huge on the in-person culture. So we started here. We now have 20 full-time employees. So we're like very pro LA. But I definitely, for me, this is the longest I've lived in a place at the same time since I was 16 or 17. I definitely want to go somewhere else one day. I'd love to go to New York, but I can't. I got to be in person.
I totally understand. And I want to come back to LA eventually.
I think
Like,
LA is a better place to be late 20s, early 30s.
exactly.
I think it's not a good place to be 22, 23. And I actually don't think we have anyone at the company who is currently that age who lives in LA. I think it's expensive. It's very hard to get around. You need to build your network. I love being in Chicago. I think one thing that's really fun about Austin too, it's middle of the country, easy to fly to LA, easy to
Great.
fly everywhere.
New York, Florida.
Yep, anywhere you want to go. No taxes is great. So you're keeping more of your dollar there versus here.
And I'm
Right.
here. I'm usually here
You can come
probably
anytime.
3 or 4 months of the year. Like LA is great, but yeah, I look at Austin. LA is also very distracting, right?
Yeah,
So
it is.
I look at Austin as like home base. Um, it's very health and wellness center.
It is.
Everyone there's into. When I first got there, I didn't know anyone. I went to like an entrepreneur like men's only dinner, like Jeffersonian style conversation, and
Oh,
right
that's
away
cool.
we started doing breath work. And they go, raise your hand if you've never done breath work. I raised my hand. They go, welcome to Austin, right?
Yeah.
So it was cool, right? And nobody, like none of my friends out there really want to go out that much. I literally just don't go out when I'm in Austin.
That's amazing
And then
focus,
I get to,
especially someone your age to say that.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm now at the I'm married.
yeah.
I'm yeah, thank you. So I'm more at that point where I'm same way like now in LA, I'm like all. But how do you stay in such good shape while you're working out, like, or while we're running your own business? Because that's super impressive. What's your discipline? What's your strategy like? Do you get up? Are you one of those people who gets up super early, or like how do you do it?
Um, it's a good question. It's really hard when traveling. Like,
It's so
I've
hard.
been in LA 4 days now. I haven't worked out yet,
Yeah,
except for like a little at home workout. I don't have a car.
yeah,
I don't have a gym membership
yep,
here. It's really hard. If you're at a hotel, it's different. You have maybe a gym there,
yeah.
but I don't find it too hard in Austin. My friend group in Austin, I love this idea of like friend grouping, right? So like I have like 3 or 4 different friend groups in Austin for different things.
Hmm.
Some of them are all literally all tech CEOs because it's
Nice.
just like fascinating to me,
Yeah.
and I like those guys a lot, and they're very bright and they're very driven. Some of them are all fitness influencers. All they do is work out, tattoo, make content.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, no,
I'd
it's
love to
great.
do
And then
that.
some of them are like health and wellness
Yeah.
business owners. But so whenever I'm hanging out with my friends, it's the same thing. It's like Saturday morning, wake up, 6:37, go to their run club. All my friends, they host like the biggest run club in Austin. You might have seen it, Raw Dog. You ever seen
Yeah, yeah,
that?
yeah.
They're all amazing guys. You go to the run club Saturday morning, then you go work out, then you go get coffee, then you go like tan and go to like this water hole area. It's the
Sounds
same thing. It's
great.
awesome. It's like so much better than going out and drinking.
Way better,
Uh,
way better,
at a normal
yes.
bar, at least. Like if you want to go on a trip, like I just got back from Mykonos and it was fucking sick.
Yeah,
But I would much rather travel, and do a really cool, fun blow off steam trip once every 2 or 3 months,
I
and then just like
completely
lock
agree.
in for 2 or 3
Yeah,
months.
because there's no point on a Friday just going on the same double date or friend group hangout to some
Yeah.
bar where
Same
the
dive bar.
same thing's gonna happen, the night's gonna end. What's the point in that? How are you actually making yourself better?
I fully agree. I think people get mad about this and they're like, let me live my life. But at the end of the day, like if you're a guy, at least, if you're a young guy, your early 20s, progress in life is an exponential curve. And the earlier you can get started and get focused, the better you're going to be way faster, right? So if you can, I'm not saying you have to not go out for a couple of years, but if you can focus like 85% of the time, still go on trips and everything, which are more fun anyway,
Yep.
In your early 20s. By the time you hit your late 20s, you're gonna be, like, wealthier, more connected, in better shape, look better,
Yep.
more freedom, like, your life is just gonna be so much better, and all it takes is honestly a little bit of sacrifice and discipline, in my opinion.
I
It's not that hard,
I completely
honestly.
agree. I always say get better every day. Always be learning, but you have to absolve yourself from the modern day hamster wheel. Work the 9 to 5, go home, have a drink with your roommate or go out, wake up, feel terrible, go through it again. That's no way to live. Do what's best for you. You don't owe it to anybody but yourself and your family. Be on top of yourself, getting better. But that's actually a great way for us to really wrap the
Could I
conversation.
ask you one
Oh
question?
yeah, yeah. Ask me a
Alright, so
question, I'll wrap it. Yeah.
you having seen one of my best friends, his birthday the other day, and for a birthday present, he asked me, I need you to, like, take an hour, think about, like, who I am, and give me, like, a really good piece of advice. I thought that was awesome. So, you having seen a little bit of my content, I just explained a little stuff. You're older, very successful,
On my
and
way.
you're in tech. I would love to get into tech one day. Like, I love clothing and everything, but it's just not the greatest business model. From your seat right here, what advice do you have for me or anyone
I
watching?
love it. Yeah, I would say two pieces of advice. One, kind of where I was actually leading the last little one liner. You always win or you learn. I truly mean that. Every time you lose, a bad situation happens, something that makes you sick in your stomach, know that that is making you so much stronger for the future. You don't win or you lose, you win or you learn every single moment that you have. And you oftentimes learn way more than you actually would have won. So I think setbacks are so important. Some of the worst things that have happened to me, for instance, not getting into Harvard, Stanford, going to UCLA, incredible opportunity. I met my co-founder. We started this business. We raised over $40 million. Really lucky to have that bad thing happen to me. So
Mm.
you really do win or you learn. So every bad thing is a great learning opportunity. And then another piece I always say is that every 6 months, you have a once in a lifetime opportunity come your way. You need to captivate two or three of them in your life to make it an incredible life. And so, maybe this shorts that you launched is not your once in a lifetime opportunity. Maybe just something that you're learning so much. And, maybe you meet someone at one of these Austin cold plunges in a year and a half, 2 years that you want to do a tech business with. And that is your life changing moment. I hope the shorts absolutely
Yeah,
crush
no,
it.
I
And I
totally
hope you're the
understand what you're
next,
saying.
but like the every 6 months, everyone always says, oh, I wish I was that lucky or whatnot. You create your own surface area for luck. I mean, look what you're doing, hanging out with successful people, putting yourselves in those immersive environments. You create your own luck. You need to take advantage of those once in a lifetime opportunities that happen every, 6 to 12 months. And so, I've been lucky enough to have a few that have gone my way, some really lucky bounces, but have to go all in on them and just really hope focus in. So really passionate about those two pieces of
Oh yeah, that
advice.
was great. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Well
straight from the
said.
heart. And so the big thing that I do want to end this with for our listeners is I know you're not that far removed from it because you're only what, 24?
23.
23. See, wow. Okay. 23. What would you wish you could tell your high school version of yourself?
Watch my content.
Great advice.
Every single one of my videos is literally directed at me yesterday. Like, it's like learning, like, if you
I
just
love
said
it. I'm
that,
gonna start taking this.
you
Yeah,
literally, like, because you're not gonna please everybody.
I agree.
You
Yeah.
should aim to, like, please yourself, in my opinion. And, so, like, I might make a video right after this about the last piece of advice you
Please
just gave,
do.
because I wish I heard that yesterday, right?
Tag us at
Um,
Chicago Vilardo.
but I probably would kinda if I had to give one piece, it'd probably be a repeat of, like, the first thing you just said, right? Like, failure's good
It is. It's failure is
in
so
everything.
good. Failure is the most powerful piece. And yes, regret is the worst feeling in the world. But if you can channel that regret, learn from that regret. I saw something really cool yesterday. The show on Netflix, Receiver, came out. Have you watched it? Did you watch the quarterback show?
No.
I might be aging myself now, but I thought it was really cool. It's about it's honestly like a localized, personalized version of Hard Knocks. It's
Mm.
about specific players. Quarterback was about Mahomes, Cousins, Mariota, and then they couldn't get any quarterbacks to do it this year. Quarterbacks were more so who'd they go to? Wide receivers, biggest personality. They all want to do it.
Yeah.
So you got Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, a couple other studs in the league, and one of the guys from the Lions. He has a list of every player that was picked in front of him in the NFL draft, every receiver, excuse
Mhm.
me, and he reads it before every practice and before every game to motivate him. I thought it was amazing. I'm like, see, there's an opportunity, like learning from failure, learning from regret. Like, I'm going to make these teams pay. I'm better than what they thought I was, and it just motivates them every day.
I think, well, for every single person that has the most amount of wins, whether it's an athlete like Tom Brady,
Love
Michael
Tom
Jordan,
Brady, yeah.
whether it's a businessman,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, every single one of these guys that has the most amount of success probably has also had more failures than most.
Yep.
Michael Jordan's
That's what he
missed
says.
more shots than anybody.
Yes.
You know, Steve Jobs getting ousted from his own company,
Yes.
right? Like the most humiliating, like disgusting thing that could never happen to you as an entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. Failure is good. Is
Well,
my
it's
one
good.
piece
Well,
of advice.
as Jensen Huang would say from NVIDIA, in the kindest way, hope, suffering, and failure amongst all of us that makes us stronger, happier, better, and so we can watch more Squid content. Thank you so much for being on the show today,
Thanks
man.
for
It's
having me on.
awesome. Great seeing you.
Appreciate it.